Alright, welcome everyone to the next video. Today we're going to show you how to make a map for Pavlov. So after you've installed everything, you should be pretty much in this page where you just have a definition file, your UGC folder, and basically nothing else. So we're going to go ahead and create a map. Go ahead and right click in the little blank space here and choose level. Give your world a name, something familiar. We're going to call this tutorial land because why not? And once you've done that, you'll see this little star here. It's important to recognize when you see stars anywhere in the map. That means that there's something unsaved. And instead of just doing Control S, what you should do instead is click Save All, as this will make sure that you're saving everything that you've worked on. Believe me, it'll become second nature pretty quick. Go ahead and open up your map and you'll see the same thing, practically nothing. So we need to add some lights in here. So the first thing we'll need are some lights. So let's get some directional light. Okay. Let's get a sky sphere. Now the way to get some of these demo things is to actually go back to your plugins folder and you'll see this custom map tools content thing. This folder is going to contain a lot of examples. We're going to open up the mod example map, and again make sure you save your other one. We're going to want to take a couple things from here, namely the sky sphere. So we're going to Control C, or you can right click and then go to edit and then copy. You want to go back to your plugins folder. You want to go back to your UGC folder. Open up your other map. Click into this window and paste the sky sphere. There we go. Now we have sky. The next thing we're going to want to do is create a landscape. So you're going to go up here to this top left. Also, if you don't have this place actors, say that this is empty and you just have this, go up into the window and then select place actors. That'll put this window back here. This will be pretty useful for other things, so I usually keep it open, but it's all up to you. Go into this little drop down and select landscape, and from here you'll see there'll be a big old landscape that's being made by default. You can make this as big as you want. In fact, all this stuff can be found pretty much here. You can import it as a height map, or you can just create your own. We're just going to create our own for the sake of it's a little easier to just kind of do demos for this. And I'm going to make something pretty small. I'm going to do a 7x7 quad with 1x1 sections. So this is pretty much how big the map is going to be, and that's fine. We don't need it to be huge. In fact, I might even cut this down to 4x4, so we have an even smaller selection. And I'll click create. Cool. So now we have a landscape. Make sure you click save all. And make sure that you're always, spastic saving. It's pretty great. Now from here you can actually sculpt, and you can't paint yet, but I'll show you how to do that. You can sculpt your landscape, so if you want to add like hills and ridges, you can go ahead and do that. You can smooth, you can do all kinds of stuff. So for this sake, I'm just going to keep stuff flat, but if you have a map that requires, specific, terrain, that is your best friend. So now, say you want to paint stuff, because a lot of people like to be able to paint like materials and such. We're actually going to create a material for that. So what I'll do is I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to call it materials, and I'm going to create a new material by right clicking again and selecting material. I'm going to call this landscape. Cool. I'm going to open this up by double clicking. You'll see that star there again. See, this is never going to go away. And now we have this. Now this is not a Unreal Engine 5 tutorial, because frankly I'm not very good at it and I don't want to give false information, but the way that I have made landscapes is I would actually create a layer blend, landscape layer blend. I would give this different array elements by adding different layers. And you can go into each of these and change their name. I'll just call this like grass or something. I don't know. Dirt. Rock. I don't know. You can call them whatever you want. It doesn't matter. And then this end blend is going to go into base color. Now, I'm just going to create basic colors, but you can actually create textures for this. So if you have textures, you will take a branch out by just clicking and dragging. You put it wherever you want. You'll do a texture sample. And from here, if you have a texture, you can use it. Just know that if you have textures, you need to put them into that UGC folder. Otherwise, people won't be able to see them and they'll be checkerboards. But for this tutorial, we're just going to use basic colors. So I'm going to take this out and I'm going to create a constant 3 vector. And I called this grass, so I'm just going to make it green. Give it some color. So I've just created 3 different layers that all go into the landscape. So you're going to want to hit save, or you can hit apply. I mean, if you save it, it's going to apply it regardless. So you got to wait for shader compilation and all that stuff, so sometimes it can take a while. Close this out after we see that we don't have any stars. Cool. We're going to go back to selection. This is important. If you're in landscape mode, you won't be able to click anything in your map, so always make sure that you're in selection if you're doing that. I'm going to click the terrain, and on this right side there's a big old list of fun. Here we have landscape material. I'm going to go and just drag this right into that. Cool. I'm going to go back to landscape. I'm going to go to paint this time, and now we have some different layers. Now, before you can paint anything, you'll see that I get an error that says there's no layer info. So we have to create layer infos. So you can create that by clicking these plus buttons. I just do non-weighted because I don't really do much of these. Now make sure you save this as well into your UGC content stuff, otherwise you're going to have a lot of problems. So make sure you save it in there. And you can move these wherever you need to, or if you have a folder you want to create, you should do that too. So just remember to save these in your UGC, otherwise you won't see these when you upload it and everyone's going to be really confused. You're going to do that for all of the layers that you have. We're going to click save all, and you'll notice just how easy this list can get. Like it can get pretty long. So now that I've done that, now I can select any of these and paint, and you'll notice it'll have to make shaders and such, but like you'll see that I'm painting stuff. Obviously I have grass over this at first, so if you ever want to remove a layer, you're going to click on it, you're going to hold the shift button, and then you'll click and drag. And you'll notice that because I'm removing the grass layer, in fact I'm probably just going to start this thing super fresh. So I have a blank canvas here, and now I'm going to make the brush size a little bit smaller so it's not so crazy. Now I can paint where I want stuff. And if you don't remove the layer underneath, or if you have your weights set differently, it can blend those layers together, and sometimes it'll look a little strange. So just keep that in mind, of course. I'm just going to paint the whole thing green because I don't want to waste too much time. Alright, now that we've got everything just to a uniform green, we're going to go ahead and click save all again. And we're going to go into selection. And what we're going to do before we do anything else is we want to create a kill volume on the bottom of the map, so that way if people manage to fall through, you want them to die, you don't want them to fall forever. So in the place actors, again, if you don't have this window, go up to window and then place actors, and this should pop up here. We're going to look up Pavlov, and we're going to do kill volume. Cool. It's just a cube. Oh wow, this is a tiny map. I didn't realize how small I made this. So I'm actually going to stick this first underneath the map, because you don't want anyone to just die when they spawn. That's no fun. Alright. We have this big old volume, and now you can edit the scale on the right side, so make sure you click on the thing you want to edit. You can change the scale, and we want to make sure we cover the entirety of the map. So, or you can press R. So WER will get you the different types of editing tools up here. So you have your select, you have your rotate, and you have your scale. Or you could just click them up here if you want, whatever works. So make this pretty big. And again, this isn't required. This is just something that I do whenever I'm making maps that are pretty flat or something, because like you don't want it so where, you know, if you fall off, then you just fall forever, because that's no fun. Alright, so I think that's plenty big. Cool. Always a good idea to have a volume outside where if people fall off, they die, or they can teleport back. You can do all kinds of stuff. I just use a kill volume for the sake of simplicity. The next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to put down some spawn points. So you'll first start by looking up Pavlov spawn. And depending on the type of game mode that you're creating, whether it's push or just any other game mode, you'll use specific spawn points. For these tutorials, we're just using normal Pavlov spawns, nothing crazy. So you can click and drag them into the map, and you'll notice they have a capsule collider, so this kind of gives you an idea on how tall the players are going to be. So just bear that in mind when you're creating your maps. If you ever have an issue where you get bad size, it just means that this is colliding with the spawner, and people will not be able to spawn, or they'll spawn in the map, and that's no good. So make sure that it doesn't show bad size, and people will spawn there. It's usually a common problem I see a lot, but pretty easy fix. Well, alrighty, that'll do it for doing basic map stuff. In the next video, we're going to try and create some game modes using some blueprints, so that way we can actually spawn in and play our map.